will need to collect engine coolant, engine oil, hydraulic oil, swing reduction, left travel reduction, and right travel reduction. Those are the 6 required samples. Today I'll show you how to collect the engine coolant sample as well as the engine oil sample. But before doing so, make sure the machine has been fully warmed up so that all the fluids are cycled through the system. To take an engine oil sample, you'll first need a 14mm wrench to remove the cap off of the engine oil sample port. Once the cap has been removed, make sure you have a container to drain off at least 10 seconds worth of engine oil. That way it'll reduce the amount of contaminants that were left in the hose. Once you've drained off the 10 seconds worth of oil, clean off the end of the nozzle, then open up one of your sample containers. Remove the seal off the sample jar itself. And begin to collect your sample. Make sure you have at least 3/4, if not 80% of the container filled with the actual oil. That way we can get a complete sample. Put the lid back on, use one of the enclosed baggies to seal the sample. Then place it back in the sample container. Just remember to fill out the top of the container completely, that way it matches the sample form. Once that's sealed, wipe up the work area. Then, using the 14mm wrench, tighten up the cap on the sample port. To take an engine coolant sample, you can either take it from the radiator on top of the machine or from the coolant reservoir that's located at ground level access. Lift open the lid off the coolant reservoir and, using one of the sample container packages, remove the lid and take out the sample jar. Once you have the sample jar ready, make sure you attach it to the vacuum pump that's included in the kit. The vacuum pump will also have the plastic hose attached to it, and drop the hose down into the reservoir so that it is fully into the coolant. Now, using the vacuum pump, you want to fill up the sample jar, again a minimum of 75 to 80% full. That way we have a full sample for analysis. Slowly remove the tube so that the leftover coolant in the line will actually go back into the reservoir. Unscrew the sample container from the vacuum pump and then put the lid back on to seal it. And again, make sure you fill out the top of the lid of the sample jar. Using the baggie, put the sample into the bag and then drop the sample back into the sample container. Once sealed, put the cap back on the reservoir and wipe up your work area. Thanks for joining me today for this edition of Words from the Wise. I hope after today's video you know a little more about the LBX Fluid Analysis Program